Hey y'all. So it's always a reason that prompts any video or thought or whatever conversation you want to have. And what made me even think to even want to talk about this is, ain't it so strange how this video, like, you can't even see this video unless you got a link because I haven't made it publicly yet. But it'll show one person on the live even when nobody is here. Isn't that so strange? But yeah, like I was saying, it's always a situation that prompts any conversation. And y'all know yesterday I said I wanted to learn how to, if anything, I want to learn how to read Hebrew nonetheless. Um, but I wouldn't mind knowing how to speak it also, but I definitely want to know how to read it. Um, yeah, but either way, whether I know how to read Hebrew or not, it doesn't change my experience with Yah and my experience with the world to know what is real and what's not. Because there was someone that um basically told us that, well, basically it was a girl that did a video, and she was basically saying that, like, she was saying that Yah, the Most High Yah, was basically the evil being, and basically Satan didn't exist or whatever. Um, and she said she noticed because she know how to read Hebrew. So I'm like, I wonder where she reading, because I know most likely she's misinterpreting something, but I would like to read it myself so that I can see what she's misinterpreting. So basically, I wanted to be able to read it myself so that I could see whatever it is that she's misinterpreting. But I don't know how to read Hebrew. But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna learn, y'all. I'm still gonna learn. But at the end of the day, it does not change the facts. You know what I mean? I mean, I know what Yah has been to me. I know what my life was like before Yah. I know what my life has been like with times of falling off of Yah. So I know that Yah is real, and I know that Yah is good. I mean, it, really, that's all it takes is a little bit of common sense for real. Because if you read the word, you can see she basically was saying it's all about control. But I don't think it's about control at all, because when you think about the people that really want to control, they don't really want you to know the whole truth of the word. They try to basically make people think that the whole Old Testament is void. I mean, the people that want to control are not even pushing um pushing you to learn about everything in the word. Any group that want to control, you will notice it don't matter if it's like the camps or whoever, any groups that's trying to control, you will notice that they leave portions out of the word. They never give you the word in full. Because if you give the word in full, then there's no control in it. The only one that has control, if you are reading and applying the word in full, is the Most High Yah. So that could have been something that people intended. And I can't remember exactly what I was reading, but I was reading something that basically was telling us not to not get knowledge, but it was saying basically don't go overboard on things that you're um not supposed to know about, or something like that. I was reading something similar to that. I don't want really want to say that's what I read because I can't remember exactly what it said, but I can kind of see why you should not go overboard with knowledge because some people could get so caught up on the knowledge that they completely forget about the spirit, or they never connected with the spirit because they joined whatever they joined, and then that's all they heard was knowledge, 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 and they wanted to have the most knowledge. So they got caught up on this journey of knowledge, and they never received the spirit. They never connected with the Most High Yah. There was never no connection. So when you get caught up on the knowledge, it's no way you can truly know what it means to be connected to Yah. It's no way possible. It's not possible. You have to be connected to the spirit. And that is true. You have to be connected to the spirit. I know that Yah is real. And not only do I know that Yah is real, I know that Yah is good. How can you call something evil that has never told you to do anything but good, that has never gave you anything but good advice, that has never told you anything but how to maneuver properly? If you apply these things to your life, you will see the results of maneuvering the way the word tells you to maneuver. You will see the results if you apply these things to your life. I've seen it in full effect. I've seen it in full effect. I mean, I would just say this. The way I grew up, I mean, honestly, in childhood, it never really affected me in childhood. I was always like a happy child, but I was a very stubborn child. Like whatever I thought was the way to go, whatever I thought was right or whatever I thought was the way to go, it would be nothing you could tell me or convince me of anything different. I mean, this I didn't have this experience with my mom really per se because my mom, I'm just gonna say this. Um, during the first 10 years of my childhood, my grandmother and my mom lived together. Okay. My grandma was always one of my grandmas is still living. One of my grandmas has passed away, but I'm talking about my grandma that passed away. She's my mom's mother. So my grandmother, she lived with us like the first 10 years of my life, and she was always such a sweet woman. So just a very sweet woman. My mom, I never really got to know who she truly was, even though we lived in the household with her, because my mom was an alcoholic all the way up until I was 13 when she got into her accident that caused her to be in the situation that she is in now. So I never really got to know who she truly was because every day she was always drunk. She was always on the porch every day. Like we get out of school. I mean, it used to be embarrassing, you know. We get out of school, walking home from school or whatever, and she's on the porch with the music blasted, with a beer in her hand. Every day, every day, every day, every day. People used to try to tell her to chill out. She'll always have an excuse. It's the weekend. It's this. It's that. It's this. It's that. You know. Um, When my mom got into her accident, when I was 13, we actually had just got well, Imma tell you all the steps that happened. So, so, basically what happened was my mom sent me and my sister to live with my grandma on my father's side. I didn't know her that well. I was always, very stubborn about going around people that I didn't know well. I knew her, but I didn't know her well. Like I would see her here and there probably once every 6 months or something because my dad was basically in prison most of my whole childhood. Like as far as seeing him out of prison, I only saw him like 2 times out of prison my whole life. I mean, I've seen him sometimes while he was in prison, but I've only seen him like 2 times out of prison my whole life. Um, and basically, so she sent us over there, and when I got there, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. So I basically acted a complete fool. I mean, honestly, as far as how stubborn I was as a child and not really allowing my grandma on my father's side to help me like she could, like she was trying to. I've always regretted that, you know. And I have apologized to her since for the way I was during childhood, you know. And I've even had my karma with kids not respecting me now that I'm an adult, and I really feel like it's a part of karma because of the way I was as a child. But anyways, let's just keep going. Um yeah, so we went over there. I acted a complete fool because I was trying to make her send me back home to my mom. And she did. She sent me back home to my mom. Oh, at this point, y'all, by the time okay, so grandma that my mom's mom, she moved out when I was around 11 years old. So she was in her own house and she took my two brothers with her. So my two brothers was living with her. So at 13, fast forward back to 13. So 13, it was just me, my sister, my mom, and my stepdad living in the household. My mom was still on the path she was. Um, honestly, you know, my stepdad, he kind of we used to be really happy to see him. I mean, he was in our life since we were I would say since we was probably about 6, 5, 6. He was in our life a long time. And you know, my mom was always drunk. He would be the only one that came around that was seemingly sober. But he was a functioning crack addict, but he never did it at home around us. He would leave and be gone for like 3 days at a time or whatever. And anytime he was at home with us, he was going to work and he was very nice to us. But around the time when um my mom sent us off to go live with my grandma on my daddy's side, um he had started doing crack in the house. So he started doing crack in the house and he started acting very different, very, very different. Yeah, he started acting very, very different, just very strange and odd, you know. Like he started like doing stuff like just sitting in the kitchen having himself exposed, you know, me and my sister come in there, he's just exposed, you know. Like he just started acting so weird, you know. Anyway, so my mom sent us to go live with my grandmother. I acted a fool. I got sent back. I still didn't realize how serious, how bad the situation really was at home. Like it wasn't like a place to be, you know. But anyways, I acted a fool. She sent me back in like a week or something. And I got back over there, and then it was just me there. My sister still stayed with her, and my sister told me to come on. Like my sister wanted me to just come back over there with my grandma on my daddy's side, and I didn't want to go because I told you I was a very stubborn child. So basically, the first night I was back, my stepdad was like in my room or whatever. I mean, he didn't assault me or anything, but like he was in my room and I was knocked out sleep and he was like over me and he did like have like my pants unzipped. And basically when I woke up, I just went crazy. I jumped up out the bed and then I ran downstairs. My mom was drunk as usual. I ran downstairs and I told my mom what happened or whatever. I told her he was in my room, my pants was unzipped and stuff, and he was over me, and basically he was telling my mom, I didn't do nothing to that girl. I didn't do nothing to that girl. Um, so anyways, basically, you know, after that happened, I went back to sleep or whatever. Woke up the next day. Felt very weird that he was still in the house, you know. So I called my cousin, told her what happened. My older cousin, she used to live with us. She had an apartment right around the corner from us. Um, she told me to call my grandma on my mom's side. So I called my grandma on my mom's side and told her what happened. And my grandma on my mom's side immediately sent somebody to come pick me up. So I was picked up by somebody for by my grandma on my mom's side uh friend. She sent somebody to pick me up, and then I was taken to her house. I was taken to her house, and basically when I was taken to her house, we went through this whole defects thing and everything, and we basically couldn't live with our mom anymore. So I lived with a couple of people. I didn't go back to my grandma on my dad's side right then. I lived with my auntie. So I lived with my auntie for a while. But I kept on doing stuff that I shouldn't do. Like I kept on catching the bus to my grandma's house on my mom's side because I knew how to ride the MARTA bus at 13. But yeah, I kept on getting on the MARTA bus and going to my grandma's house on my mom's side every weekend, and she told me to stop doing that. And I would not listen to her. I kept doing it. So anyway, at a certain point, I guess she was like, "Listen, if this child can listen to me, she can go." So yeah, she basically was done with it. Like I don't have time to be dealing with she. I mean, she had many kids of her own. She didn't have time to be dealing with another child that won't even listen when she tell them direction and she's trying to help that child out. So anyways, I was um I was kicked out. So yeah, then my grandma on my daddy's side, I lived with her for like a whole year though. So by 14 I was kicked out. Um But before I was 14, let me tell y'all what happened during the time while I was living with my auntie. So I was calling my mom every day, asking her when was she gonna get done with the parenting classes and everything, when we gonna be able to go back with her. And this, oh yeah, during the time while I was still 13, when she had kicked me out one time, and then I went back to her. So she kicked me out, and I went to live with another auntie. This auntie tried to deal with me, but I started skipping school and stuff. So I started skipping school. I tried to ride the MARTA bus to see my mom. She had moved to these other apartments that was even more ghetto than the ones we already lived in. So we grew up on the west side of Atlanta. We lived in Vine City starting off. well, not starting off, but like from the far back I can remember the neighborhood because we lived in Vine City. I think I started going to school in Vine City in like first grade. But before that, we lived somewhere else on the west side. But anyways, we lived in Vine City up until this incident happened. And then when my mom was living by herself, I don't know what happened, but she ended up moving to an even more ghetto place in Ashby. If anybody know what Ashby at in Atlanta. And I skipped school and I went to her house. And when I went over there, it was heartbreaking. She was drunk and just all over the place, just like she just seemed sad. Um, you know, so so I left there. Um, and basically when I got back to my aunt's house, she basically knew I had skipped school that day. So she kicked me out and I went back to go live with my other auntie. So I stayed with that auntie until I was 14 and she got tired of me keep catching the bus to my grandma's house on my mom's side. So she kicked me out. And I don't blame her. I mean, I don't blame her at all. I don't blame any of them, honestly. I mean, they had kids of their own. They can't be dealing with some child that will not listen. So yeah. So I went to live with my grandma on my daddy's side. So now I'm back with my grandma on my daddy's side. And I was still catching the MARTA bus to the school that I was going to when I lived with my auntie. So yeah, I was still catching the MARTA bus over there, and it was a long bus ride, probably like a 2 hour bus ride. It was long. I used to have to like walk to the bus stop at like 4:30 in the morning because my grandmother on my daddy's side lived in Decatur. So I used to walk to the bus stop like 4:30 in the morning. And my auntie that I had moved with, she lived in like College Park. So yeah, I used to get on the MARTA bus like 4:30 in the morning, catch the bus to College Park, go to the school I was going to at the time. It was middle school. Um what grade was I in? What grade was I in? I think I was in the 8th grade. But anyways, yeah. So I'm catching the bus over there and then I meet this little girl on the bus. I meet this girl on the bus that go to the same school as me or whatever. I met this girl on the bus that go to the same school as me. And basically she came up to me while I was on the MARTA bus. She was like, "Oh, you know, if you get off at this stop over here, you won't have to walk that far." Because I guess I was getting off at a stop that made me have to walk real far. She was like, "So you know, if you get off at this stop over here, you won't have to walk that far." And I was like, "Oh, for real? Okay." So from there, me and her had became friends immediately. When me and her became friends, a real skipping school problem started. Like she introduced me to a lot of grown folk stuff. You know what I mean? This little girl was really living like a grown folks life. Like I mainly just had issues with like trying to catch the bus to my grandma's house, to my grandma's house on my mama's side. You know, I wasn't into anything. Like I didn't have boyfriends. I wasn't into anything, you know. But anyways, this girl had grown folks problems. But yeah, we started skipping school together every day. I really spent out of control really bad at this point. My grandma indicated she was really trying to work with me. Anyways, my grandma indicated was trying to work with me, and uh, I skipped a part. So before I went to live with my grandma indicator, this is what happened with my mom. So when I was still 13, my mom ended up even getting kicked out of that place she was living in Ashby, where it was like real ghetto and stuff, and she seemed real depressed. So she went to live with my grandma on my mom's side. And she was still doing the same thing over there, like drinking all day and everything. And one day she came home. One day she wasn't drunk. She used to wasn't drunk when she'll go out and handle whatever business she had to handle. Like let me tell y'all a few good things about her. We never starved ever. She always had food in the household. She always paid all of the bills first. She always made sure we had clothes and shoes. She always made sure we had everything we needed first. Um, but anyways, she had a real alcohol problem. Like she needed to be in rehab somewhere. But yeah. So yeah, basically she went to go live with my grandma on my mom's side. And when she went to live over there, she went out to handle her business one day and she was sober. And I was over there this day. It was like on a school break or something. I was over there, and she came back home, and she came back home to my grandma's house, and she said she met this man on a bus, and she said he told her that she had about that if she don't stop doing everything she doing right now, if she don't get her life together right now, that something really bad was about to happen to her. Did she met this man on the bus? And she came back home and told my grandma, but I was laying in the dining room. They couldn't see me because my grandma had like these curtains up where you can see in the dining room because she would make everything out of a bedroom because she had so many kids living over there. Everything was a bedroom. The dining room was a bedroom. Everything was a bedroom. Any extra little space was a bedroom at my grandma's house. So, anyways, I was laying in the dining room and my mom she couldn't see me and basically she was talking to my grandma and she said she met this man on the bus and she was scared too, y'all. She met this man on the bus. She said he told her that if she did not straighten up her life, something really bad was about to happen to her. And I guess she was just scared for a few hours because that night she was right back drinking. And she drank and she did not stop drinking. She drank for 3 days straight. For 3 days straight, she was drunk. I mean, all day, all night, drunk on the porch, just drunk for 3 days straight. Um, on that third day, she decided to get on a bicycle. And my grandma lived on like this real big old hill. So she decided to get on a bicycle. And she got on this bicycle and she rode down this real big old hill or whatever. And Uh, she almost died. We believe she got hit by a car. Nobody really don't know. Um, but yeah, she almost died. She was on a breathing machine for 2 months. Um, they really thought she wasn't gonna make it. Um, yeah, she almost passed away. And basically, that's what happened. And ever since she's been in this condition because it caused it severe brain damage, paralyzed on one side. It just caused her a bunch of problems. So she has not been in her right mind or anything since. But basically, yeah, back to fast forward. I had at this point I was living with my grandma on my daddy's side for a while, and and yeah, I had met this girl on the bus, and she started introducing me to stuff that I never even thought about getting into or whatever. And yeah, I really started spinning out of control really bad at this point. But my grandma was still trying to work with me, but she never gave in to any of my outrageous demands, and I'm glad she didn't. You know, she basically laid down the law, like either I'm gonna follow her rules or she will kick me out outside or wherever, but I'm gonna follow her rules when I'm in her house. And I love her for that and I respect her for that. Um yeah, so basically I was living over there. When I started getting out of control pretty bad, she did kick me out. She told the caseworker to come get me. And at that point it was nowhere else for me to go. So I went to live with I ain't gonna live with nobody. I went to the group home. So So I was in a group home for about 6 months. I was in a group home for about 6 months. And then I started back talking to one of my cousins. This cousin was grown. I was 14. This cousin was 18, but she was kind of a little bit slow. So yeah, I started talking to her and she basically telling me to come over her house. And this I was at the group home for about 6 months. And so at this point I ran away from the group home. I ran away from the group home. And then I was living in my cousin's closet. I was basically living in my cousin's closet, and then me and her go run the streets all day. So yeah, eventually months later, I ended up talking to my grandma on the phone, my grandma on my daddy's side, and she told me to come back and she'll talk to the caseworker to see if it's okay if I just come to her house. So she got back in contact with me. She told me she talked to the caseworker, and the caseworker said that it's okay if I come to her house. So I came to her house. We tried this whole thing again. I had a lot of problems in school. Like I wasn't bad, but it was like I just could not never grasp like what was going on. Like I was always so in my head, I could never pay attention to anything. Like I was always just so in my head, you know. Um, anyways, so basically, eventually, I decided that I really just couldn't do school or whatever. So my caseworker said, "Well, you're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to get your GED or something." So by this time, I'm like 16, and so I ended up getting my GED. I went to this GED school, and I was there for a couple of months, and then I took the test, and then I got my GED. And then my grandma wanted me to go to like the community college. So she enrolled me in like the community college, and I think I was like 17 at this time. So I was going over there, but again, I severely had a problem with paying attention. But now I know how I learn now, so now I can learn just about anything. But yeah. So basically, I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't doing the right thing there either. I probably just wasn't doing the right thing. No focus on it. I gotta actually want to do it for me to do it. So yeah, no focus on it or whatever. So I stopped going there, and I just basically me and my grandma would have a lot of problems. Like she would always have to kick me out all the time because I just was not following the rules. Like the main issue with me was I wasn't like the disrespectful type of child that's like talk back or nothing like that. My issue was I would never stay put. I just wouldn't stay put. But anyways, yeah, so basically um all of that happened or whatever. Um I was basically like a walking zombie. Like seriously, I was a walking zombie. Um no sense of direction, just a walking zombie, getting myself in all types of different situations. Um when I was when I was like 21, I just started having this feeling like I need to get my life together before something bad happened to me. Like I started having this feeling. It was a strong urge to get my life together before something happened to me. So even though I never really read the Bible, I had the Bible and I would start trying to read it, even though I didn't understand anything that I was reading. It was just going in one ear, not the other, but I'll just try to read it. So anyways, I'll try to read it. And then but I was still basically kind of living like the same lifestyle a little bit, you know. Basically I decided that I did read one thing in the Bible that I understood, and it was the thing about if your eye causes you to sin, then cut it out. So I felt like my environment, I needed to, I felt like I needed to take myself out of the environment that I was in and put myself in an environment to where my only hope would be to trust the Most High and to not jeopardize my integrity in no type of way uh, for anything. Just put all of my trust and all of my hope into the Most High, which I was calling God at that time. So out the blue, I told everybody I had my own apartment and everything. So I called people, my family. I called my grandma. I called my sister and stuff. I told them I'm moving to Texas. I'm moving to Austin, Texas. I'm in Decatur, Georgia, telling them I'm moving to Austin, Texas. Oh, when are you moving? Next week. So basically, I got to get all of this stuff out, and I got to find somebody to rent my apartment. So yeah, that's what I did. I sold all of my stuff, and I found this lady who agreed to rent my apartment from me. I mean, it wasn't like a official lease takeover. Everything was basically still in my name, and she just moved in, and she was paying the rent. So yeah, I packed up and I moved to Austin, and I was like, I got a little money to get a hotel when I get there, so I'm just gonna get a hotel while I'm looking for a job. Probably pay for a hotel for a little while I'm looking for a job and stuff. I should be able to find a job. Shouldn't take that long. So I get out there to Austin, Texas, and basically I couldn't find a job. No, no, no. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true about the job part. Let me tell you, I couldn't find a hotel room. That's what I meant to say. I couldn't find a hotel room. All of the hotels were packed. No hotels to go to, period. So basically, I'm out there with suitcases and everything, and ain't got nowhere to go. So so that night I just slept at the bus stop. I just slept at the bus stop that night. That morning I had went inside of McDonald's to try to get myself looking decent for the day. Went to the bathroom at McDonald's trying to get myself looking decent for the day. Still got my suitcases with me and everything. Just everybody looking at me like, where in the world is crazy girl going with these suitcases and stuff? So, so yeah, basically, um, basically, I had got on the after I got myself looking fresh and clean for the day, looking good, what I felt like was looking well, Imma say looking decent. So anyways, I was on the city bus. I was just like every city got a city bus. So I was on a city bus and I was actually no, I actually had caught the city bus to a local church in that area. I went to a local church in that area because I was like, "Oh, this church will help me out. They'll give me somewhere to sleep and some food and stuff like that." So I went over there to the church, and when I went in the church, I felt the vibes. They was looking at me because I had suitcase and everything. They was looking at me like, "What do she want? Like, what do she want from us?" You know. So yeah, uh, they was talking to me a little bit. Nobody offered me help or anything like that, which is fine. So I left there and I was on the city bus. I really oh yeah, I was on the city bus. I need to put these suitcases down. So I was catching the city bus to a storage facility. I need to get a storage facility to put these suitcases down. Um so yeah, while I was on the city bus with the suitcases, this lady came up to me and she just came up to me and she was like, you should go over to the Salvation Army. And I guess I don't know, I must was looking like I needed somewhere. I don't know. I mean, I know I wasn't looking raggedy. I had only been there for one day and then I had made myself look decent. But I guess the suitcases or whatever, she came up to me and she was like, you need to go over to the Salvation Army. I was over there. She told me she was over there. She was like, they helped her get a job. They helped her with all this stuff and everything. Um, I always felt like that was the Most High sent her to give me a sense of direction. So, anyways, after I dropped the suitcases off and stuff, I went over there to the Salvation Army, and it was on a Saturday or a Sunday, which I was even more surprised. I went over to the Salvation Army and they accepted me, so I had somewhere to go. I had a warm place to sleep, so a bathroom, So I was in the shelter at the Salvation Army, and after I was there for after I was out there for a few weeks or whatever, I started thinking I do not have a job. Like I was looking for a job, I couldn't find one. And I started getting worried. I'm like, I still don't have a job. Like I still don't have a job. Like what in the world? What am I gonna do when I completely run out of every last cent I got? I still don't have a job. So so uh that night when I started getting really worried that I still didn't have a job, I was everybody was asleep, nobody was up, everybody was in their bed. So I went out to like the little TV area, nobody was in there. And I stayed in there all night and I just prayed all night. I prayed all night for the Most High to give me a job. Give me a job. Um so I left there. I left there no, in the morning time came. And then I got dressed and everything. And as soon as I was walking down the stairs of the Salvation Army, walking down the stairs, this random dude came up to me. And he was like, "Do you need a job?" And I'm like, "Yes, I need a job." And it was a legit job, y'all. He told me about his friend who owned a Jamaican restaurant, was looking for somebody to work up there. So I went over there. No, before I even went over there, I was like, "Okay, Imma go check that out." So, that same day, I was sitting in, like, the office at the Salvation Army. The, IHOP called me back and was like, "Hey, we see your application. We would like you to come in for an interview." The same day, y'all. The same day IHOP called me. They was like, "We see your application. We would like you to, come in for an interview." And I'm like, "What? Oh my gosh." The Most High really, like, answering my prayers times 2. So, yeah. I went to both places. I got the job at the Jamaican restaurant, and then I got the job at the IHOP too. I took both of the jobs. So, yeah, I was trying to manage both of them or whatever. But I ended up after I was working at both of them for a minute, I ended up favoring IHOP over the Jamaican restaurant. I don't know why I did that because that man was really trying to teach me some real skills about like owning stuff, and he was trying to teach me some real skills. But anyways, um, then after that, it was just so easy to get a job. Like anywhere I applied, I got a job. I had ended up switching from IHOP, and then I had went to work at like this building, like with cleaning or whatever. So yeah, I was doing that. While I was out there, the Most High was just he was always looking out for me. It was like crazy stuff happening that actually don't be happening like that for real. Like I remember one time I left my phone on a bench because I used to always walk down to like the river and just lay down and look at the water and stuff. But on my way walking to the river, I had stopped at this bench or whatever, and it was like, and if y'all been to Austin, you know it's a very busy place where a million people is out all the time. So anyways, I was sitting on the bench or whatever, and yeah, I was sitting on the bench and I left my phone on the bench. I didn't even know where I had left my phone. I just knew after I got done, once I walked down to the river, after I got done looking at the water or whatever, I was looking for my phone. I couldn't find it. So I was like, man, I don't know my phone. I need that phone. I need because I was using that phone to get around GPS, to get around the city, everything, telling me how to walk. So I was like, man, I need my phone. I need my phone. But anyways, I started to just walk back to the shelter. So as I'm walking back to the shelter, some random dude stopped me. He was like, "Hey, did you lose a phone?" And I'm like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did lose a phone." So anyways, he gave me my phone back. I thought there was nobody but the Most High. So anyways, I got my phone back, and I went back to the shelter or whatever. And then as I was out there and things was going seemingly good for me or whatever, I felt like things was going seemingly good for me. I was having such a good time too, like just being free from my old environment and just living in a fashion to where I could put my trust in the Most High, you know. Anyways, um so yeah, I had got to this point. I had met this friend out there. Me and her was really good friends. Like we would hang together every day, and we just had a good time. But yeah. So basically, me and her were sitting out in the grass talking one day, and I don't know why the thought came up in my head, but it for whatever reason it made me question about how do I know the Most High is real or whatever, and I couldn't think of really nothing. Even though He had been working out all these miracles for me and all the things that He had already saved me about, I couldn't even go over all the things in this one video if I tried to. All the situations the Most High saved me from, and everything, I couldn't even go over all of it in this one video. I mean, I wouldn't even try to. But I don't even know why I allowed these thoughts to be implanted into my head, but I did. And once these thoughts got implanted in my head, I basically went down. Uh, I wasn't like put my trust in the Most High or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, I decided I wanted to go back to Atlanta. So um, I came back to Atlanta, and when I came back to Atlanta, I had moved in with my sister, and this was I immediately started back dating started back dating the same people that I was dating before I left Atlanta. Uh, um, just not staying on a righteous path. When I had left, I wasn't dating anybody the entire time. I was just focused on my relationship with the Most High. Immediately start back dating the same people. Immediately just like kind of almost just be. I feel like it was because I had lost my trust in the Most High, and um I don't even know, like, but anyways, I immediately start back falling back into like the same, not as bad, but like kind of like the same thing. Um then I would say about 6 months of me being back in Atlanta. This when uh this when I had met my husband. And honestly, when we met, neither one of us was not right. Like I told y'all, I was trying to get my life right, but I came back to Atlanta, start back living like the same kind of life. Like, I wasn't right either. Like neither one of us was like really right or whatever. Um, we started getting into like crazy stuff together, like to the point where like our situations was like getting kind of bad to where I thought like and this ain't got nothing to do with drugs, because I'm gonna tell you, I never did drugs. For whatever reason, the Most High has always protected me from drugs. I don't even smoke weed. The Most High has always protected me from going down that route. But yeah, anyways, we got together and we started getting into trouble together. And at some point, uh we had got into like some real bad stuff at some point. To where like I was really like not in a good place. But yeah. So after that had happened, I'm gonna tell you everything that happened. So we was doing a whole bunch of bad stuff, whatever. And then I also my brother had asked me for a ride one day. My oldest brother asked me for a ride one day. I went over there to get him a ride or whatever, and no, I told him I couldn't get him a ride because we needed some new brakes on the car, because this was my sister's car. But me and her was kind of like working together with things. I told him I couldn't get him a ride because we needed some new brakes on the car, and basically he was like he had just came into like a big lump sum of money, and he didn't know how to handle it. Like he just like was like basically like trying to like I'm Rick James, bitch. I'm just like, but but yeah, he was tripping. So yeah, he was like, come on, he was like, come pick me up. I'll get you some new brakes on the car. Come over here, come pick me up, whatever. So I told my sister, and she like, okay, yeah, he gonna get some brakes on the car, okay. So I go get him the next morning, and he basically tell me, I want to keep the money in the family. I'm gonna let our cousin fix the brakes or whatever. So we go over here to let the cousin fix the brakes or whatever. And the cousin don't know how to fix brakes. So I don't know what he did to the brakes, but he said he needed something else from the store. And he said the car was okay to drive. So anyways, we get in the car, and they lived on like this real big hill too. We get in the car, me and my cousin that's supposed to be fixing the brakes, and the car won't stop. So we flying down this big ass hill, and we ended up we couldn't stop or nothing. So we ended up crashing into this tree. And basically when we crashed into this tree, I had got like a big old gash on my forehead or whatever. And I looked it so ugly. One side of my head was big over here, the other side of my head was normal. I looked it super ugly, but I was still like a walking. I kind of like went back into like being a zombie at this moment. So I didn't even realize how bad of a situation I was in, how terrible I looked, or whatever. But anyways, this basically put a halt to everything uh that being my husband had going on that was no good, you know. This put a halt to all of that, you know, because it's like, damn, like you seriously fucked up right now. But anyways, I really feel like the most I intervened at that moment because it was something else happened real bad too right before that, and I kind of was like shooken up, but I wasn't all the way shook. And then that happened, and then it's like, damn, yeah, you pretty fucked up right now. But but yeah. So I'm walking around with a jacked up head, just looking ugly as hell, and and you know, me and my husband still together. He's still he's still going and walking around with me and stuff while I'm looking jacked up. He didn't abandon me. But yeah. He had ended up getting a good job out in Florida. So he ended up getting a good job out in Florida. Um and he went for that job out in Florida, and I went with him, you know. I went with him, and uh over time I started back to look like my normal self. Over time, it took a long time for me to start back looking like my normal self, a long time. And actually I was wearing I even like had to wear like a light layer of makeup, like, because even after the swelling went down, the scar was like still like it was like basically like a black line going down my head. Like it wasn't my skin tone. It was like a black line going down my head. So I would put on like a light layer of makeup to try to like make it like all the same skin tone, you know. Um anyway, so yeah, I would put on like a light layer of makeup to make it like the same skin tone. And the line never turned the same color as my actual skin tone until I stopped wearing makeup. When I stopped wearing makeup immediately, I started to see my scar started to turn the same skin tone as my face. And now I can't even barely see it that good. Like, I mean, like the way the light shine off, like on a camera, you probably can see it sometimes, but like in person, like you really can't see it. Like, you really can't see it. But yeah, that it disappeared from not wearing makeup. I guess the sun was actually able to heal it and bring it back to my skin tone. So yeah. So yeah. Anyways, and y'all see all that I went through after falling off from the Most High, right? After basically questioning whether the Most High was real. When I went to follow the Most High and put all my trust into the Most High, my life started to get better. Good things was happening for me. My prayers was being answered. When I fell off and started to question whether the Most High was real, my life went straight to hell. I mean, my life went straight to hell. But anyways, I don't even know what happened, but I my life, I was still going through a lot of stuff. Like, it was just still like a lot of stuff going on. Even though I started to start the back looking normal, it was still just a lot of stuff going on and stuff. Like, we were both very immature. And it was just a lot of drama, you know what I mean? But anyways, when I started back getting back into the Most High, or whatever, um, our life started to get better. Like, like, honestly, neither one of us, you wouldn't even imagine um the life before. Like, you wouldn't even imagine. And I can only give that thanks to the Most High Yah. That's the only one I can give thanks to. I mean, this would have never happened for me. My life would never be what it is today without the Most High Yah. It would never be what it is today. I mean, I would never have. And that's the thing right here. You really do have to have the spirit, because if you have never had the spirit to where you can feel how the Most High gives you peace and comfort, then you will never know what it feels like for that to be taken away. It's not just all about the knowledge. You know what I mean? It's not all about the knowledge. You know what your life was like when you went through certain situations and you didn't know that prayer and obedience was the answer, and you went about it a different way. You saw those results. And then you know what life was about when you find out about prayer and obedience, and you see the results and the outcomes of your situation. Is that not proof? I mean, come on now. That's proof. That's proof in the pudding. I mean, I didn't literally seen what prayer can do to those that try to come against me. I've literally seen what prayer is all about. I mean, some people say they don't believe in karma. I done seen what karma is all about. I done seen karma play out on me. So this is another story from back in the day. This is before I met my husband. Uh, I had been dating this dude for a few years or whatever. Yeah, since I was like a young teenager, I had been dating him or whatever. And basically I ain't even gonna go into that story. I'll tell y'all that story on a different day, but I'll tell y'all what the end results were. So the end results of that story was one day, one night me and him was hanging out, and the next day I realized the money was missing or whatever. And I thought that he had stole some money from me. And basically, even though I had been dating him for years, at some point he had ended up getting into a relationship with this Caucasian woman, which it didn't bother me because I told y'all I was a walking zombie. But anyways, I went over there at like early as hell in the morning as soon as I realized, because it was early in the morning when I realized that I was missing some money. I went over there and I basically tried to destroy his car because I thought he stole something from me. So I tried to destroy his car, and and uh and as soon as I left there, soon as I left there, I basically went to the gas station. I had a brand new car too, y'all. It was a brand new car that my grandma had helped me get. Um, I left there and I had put this was I mean this happened immediately. This was some quick ass karma. I left there and put diesel gas in my own car. I put diesel gas in my own car. So when I'm leaving the gas station, I didn't even know what I had did. Like literally, uh, the I did the karma was caused by my own hands, but it was karma nonetheless because I took vengeance into my own hands and thought I was going to destroy somebody else's car and destroyed my own. So, anyways, I left there, got on the highway, and the car just stopped running, and I'm like, what the hell? So, anyways, my grandma ended up taking the car from me. I ended up losing the car, which I don't blame her at all. Um, yeah, because basically I jacked it up. She had to pay like $1,000 to get it fixed. But yeah. So yeah, that happened, and that was karma right before my very eyes. That was karma right in my face, like bam. You know. Um. Anyways, like if you just look over your life, if you go on that path and decide that knowledge has led you to a place to where you don't believe in the Most High, whatever knowledge the enemy has given you, whether you want to call him the devil, adversary, whoever you want to call him, whatever knowledge the enemy has given you, you are going to see the destruction in your life from casting aside the Most High. You will see the destruction in your life at some point. You're gonna see the destruction, even if it's not a physical destruction, it will be spiritual destruction. You will see the destruction in your life, and when you trust in the Most High and is obedient to the Most High, you will see the come up in your life. You will see where you're at better spiritually and mentally and physically and financially. Even financially. I mean, I prayed for me and my husband financially, and I would say the Most High answered my prayer in like 2 months. Like it was like in the most strange way, and and basically completely brought us out of a bad place financially. Like even like I haven't even told y'all about. I have talked about this in the past about like me and my husband breaking up before, and one day I'm gonna tell y'all the story about how we was brought back together. Like it wasn't like it probably would have never been a choice that I would have made because once once I put you in a certain place in my heart, that's usually where I leave you. But it would have never been a part of my plan, but I think everything worked out as it should. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this live here and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.